Okay, I have something, and it's so deep, and I was debating on talking about it because of how deep and how kind of wacky it gets.
Okay.
But it was also very intriguing.
Give us, what is it about? Teaser.
I'll just say the name of it.
Okay.
The Cult of the Black Cube.
Oh.
Better known as the Saturn Death Cult.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I like
Saturn,
the first one
like
better.
The planet?
Mm-hmm. It goes so deep, and you could say since the dawn of man.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been trying to figure out like how to talk about it.
Yeah.
But basically, it's this theory that the global elite worships the dark side of the planet Saturn and uses occult symbols in modern institutions, and it's been going on since basically creation.
Yeah.
So like it's basically started with the fallen angels. And it all revolves around the god Saturn. And I apologize to people that are very well versed in Greek mythology and stuff. But what I saw was the god Saturn, one attribute of him is that he gave birth to all these titans, basically. And he became jealous of them that they would try to overthrow him. So he ate all of them.
Cool.
But this god Saturn is also the god Baal, the god Molech.
Oh gosh.
And is prevalent in basically every ancient and modern satanic, all this stuff. So like the planet Saturn.
Saturn is Satan.
Saturn is Satan. They think it translates from Satan.
Got it.
Or vice versa. And like one thing was like the what do you call it? Is it the Capricorn? The astrology Capricorn?
Yeah.
Which is the primary thing in that is Saturn, which is a goat. And it's like this whole weird connection. But the black cube, I'm like, where's the black cube come into this? There's like this dark spot on the top of Saturn that is in the shape of a hexagon. And if you take the hexagon, which is a 2-dimensional shape, and you make it a 3-dimensional, it makes a cube. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. But then the whole thought of it is that the god Saturn is the god of time. He's the god of materialism, the god of death, enslavement.
Yeah.
And what was crazy is this whole concept of the cult of the black cube is that if you go to basically any major financial district within the world, they all, including CERN, which is not a financial district, but they all have a monument of a black cube in their financial districts.
No way.
What?
That's weird.
Yeah, and so CERN also has this black cube shaped monument in front of CERN, and they believe that this worship of it is that they're able to tap in to this realm or this deity to be able to enslave the masses. And so part of it was they believe that the Federal Reserve was based off of that. And so it would be slave to debt. And that was this whole going back to Saturn was this slave to debt, slave to materialism. But you see it throughout just so many cultural things, so many religious things, like the black stone in Mecca, you know, where they all circle it. So that's a giant black stone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The big one where they all pray in front of it.
I'll look
Apparently has the actual stone in front of it.
But a lot of it has to do with child sacrifice too. So again, it connects to the god Molech, Baal, all that stuff. So they're talking about in like Rome, Saturn, the god Saturn, they would do these mock sacrifices to, especially child sacrifices.
Yeah, big time.
And in Greece, it was Kronos, who they would also do sacrifices to. And then obviously we know Baal, right? Who is the god where they had the hollowed out belly with they would put the infants into. And then Molech, like in Bohemian Grove.
Yep.
And so they're saying that it's a basically all-encompassing cult to the god Saturn or Satan.
Yeah.
That is part of this very ancient divine knowledge, this purest bloodline. So it goes into the whole conspiracy of like these monarchs and stuff in their bloodlines of like they've known how to tap into this deity and like control everything, control the masses through whatever, especially financial debt and all that stuff. But this was the craziest. I found this actually today. J.P. Morgan, who was very involved in the Federal Reserve and who was one of the richest men in America in his time. He has this quote that says, millionaires don't use astrology. So millionaires don't use astrology. Billionaires do.
Yikes.
Oh, how
I've
chilling.
never heard that one.
How chilling.
Dude, that's I can get behind this one.
Yeah.
This seems like a theory, like, because it's just that idea that any other god of me, and so it would make sense that Satan is the source of all of these.
Yeah. But you think about, like, we've talked about just so many times, like Göbekli Tepe, these ancient monuments, like the pyramids in Aztec, Mayan, Stonehenge, they all were observing the stars. Like that, like they are so enthralled with this astrology and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they got someone like J.P. Morgan, who was an incredibly crooked man, who was also a billionaire, who was just like, millionaires don't study astrology, billionaires do. And this fascination with the stars and Saturn and the black cube. And then I'm like, the one thing I immediately popped in my head was BlackRock.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
They are like the number one
Gosh,
It's
yeah.
literally in plain
corporation
Yeah.
that basically control or have the majority wealth in the world, right? Like, or like the richest corporation on earth
Yeah,
of
they
assets.
own everything, dude.
And like, what's happening in the Panama Canal?
Well,
Right
they
now?
now own 90% of it. They bought the companies that owned the north and south port. So there are several other ports, but they've got the biggest ones. They've got the access from the north and south big ones. And so I don't know beyond that, but that doesn't seem like a good thing.
I mean, it's a play that, they're just monopolizing the globe. So trade. Well, can you give me the list again? Because I'm thinking through, I'm adding like humanity to the thought process, like what the devil lacks in control. It sounds like this is a list of things that would become an obsession. Like, just what was the list of things again? It was time.
It was basically time, death,
Materialism.
and it goes off into this sect too of like, there's another rabbit trail theory called the Saturn Moon Matrix theory.
Saturn Moon Matrix theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was first formulated by this guy, David Icke, and his theory suggests that Saturn and the moon, this is absolutely wild. This is not,
Fantasy time.
this is completely off the rails, but it's very interesting. Saturn and the moon are broadcasting a false reality, trapping humanity in a controlled illusion.
So kind of like a simulation theory, kind of.
Exactly,
But
like a matrix.
But it's controlled by them.
Yes.
Interesting.
So, people that are like crazy into like the occult and astrology, which if you look into all these cult things like Freemasonry and just you go down the Rosicrucians and Knights Templar, like their obsession with the stars and their alignment, but they believe like each planet gives off a certain frequency, and that's where astrology comes in. Like, oh well, Saturn or Jupiter is cresting or whatever they call it, and it's like, so this month will be very good for you for doing this and doing that. These dudes really believe that, and I'm just like, well, is there some truth to that where it's like, but it's like, it's not necessarily the planets as much as it is the actual deity of what they represent.
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
But it could also align with astrology, because that goes back like to the dawn of man, of just like obsession with the stars and the alignments and like
And like for
seasons.
navigation and for planning and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And at that time, telling time before we had like clocks and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
that makes sense. Like just how advanced they were with and their obsession with the stars and stuff like that. Like, I mean, we're baffled today how they knew so much back then. It's like, what if they had someone telling them? What if there was some other type of knowledge happening? It's like, that seems like the only logical way.
Well, you think about all those ancient civilizations too, have how they like refer to them as star people, and they came from the stars and they came from the heavens. It's like they taught them the heavens too. They taught them how to read the skies and stuff like that. So like there really seems to be a connection. And like I know as like Christians, especially American Christians, it's like so like we don't want to talk about astrology. We don't want to talk about all this stuff, but it's like at the same time, it's also like knowing your enemy kind of thing, right? And like knowing that there is a divine knowledge and there are seasons to things and whatever. And it's like if they came down and they're teaching civilizations the reading of the stars and stuff, it's like there has to be something to that. Not saying it's good.
No.
Right? But like
knowledge is knowledge.
But
that's the whole knowledge of good and evil. Like that's still evil knowledge. Like
but then you think about JP Morgan saying that billionaires study astrology.
Yeah.
And
that's
like,
so weird, especially that early in time. Like, I mean, astrology's probably just meant something completely different back then. Like, because it couldn't have been as popular. There wasn't like
it was a People magazine.
Yeah,
saying
there was teenage girls
Pisces
in the 1800s.
rising.
Yeah, like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Ninjas are butterflies.
Did I say ninja? I meant
butterfly. The butterfly is no doubt one of God's most